Ladies and gentlemen and children of the planet Earth, this is the elusive owl on the reverse of the $1 bill, brought to you by Hoodwinked by an Angel. And if you'll notice, even the owl's eyes appear to be made or consist of another face inside the face of the owl that is semi-Aztec in nature. However, for today's dissertation, we are going to talk about the owl and the skull and crossbones that appears on the reverse of the $1 bill, and the way that which you can see them is to align those four arrow-like dots underneath what appears to be something similar to the letter N, and by aligning those marks, which in fact they are alignment marks, placed there from a pre-existing civilized nation of peoples and a remnant society that has ruled this world for tens of thousands of years, as are all the other pictographs placed on the reverse and the obverse of the $1 bill, in fact, to prove a point. A perfect example of this is the Indian war chief that can only be seen once you invert the eagle upside down, and this Indian war chief is a representation of the commander-in-chief and or the god of war. The representation of a nuclear detonation underneath the Indian war chief's loins is the seed of death, and why I call this individual compass and or seed pod the evil seed of death. Notice that the detonation is completely different in nature than the glory that sets over the Great Pyramid. Also notice in real life the base or table of the Great Pyramid that sets upon the top or the base of the apex is 44 feet by 44 feet, representing the 44th POTUS, for reasons that are explained in great detail in my book. Now I'm going to turn this over, and now I'm going to show you the skull and bones. Now, if there was a society that existed for tens of thousands of years representing an evil entity or a negative connotation, this skull and bones, because it looks like a skull as the hog-nosed bat's mouth, and the head is made of a bony-like structure because bats are skull and bones. Ladies and gentlemen, this is pictography. I am the world's foremost expert in pictography, or so I think. Once again, notice the detail in the skull and bones in pictography when it comes to pictography and pictographs and ideograms on the $1 bill. Notice the great detail of the bat. When you zoom it in, and when I get the perfect angle, because even 1/1000th of an inch, you can see the face of a skull as the hog-nosed bat's face. Notice the four alignment marks at the top. When you fold the bill, you too can see this on your $1 bills, because it was placed there by an entity or a remnant society that has ruled this world for the last 7,000 years at least, because look, there are also Egyptian faces. However, when you move to the opposite aspect of the Egyptian faces, they look like the faces of Mayan gods. They also have the bony protrusion coming out of the chin, which is known as a fork's beard, and above their foreheads they have what is known as a vulture's headdress. All of these things can be Googled. Vulture's headdress, fork's beard, Egyptian gods, and also this represents the seraphim, the sixth-winged seraphim. Because when I zoom in here, you will notice immediately to the right of the eye are 6 lines. The 6 lines represent the 6 wings of the sixth-winged seraphim that were placed upon the Ark of the Covenant to protect the Lord God. However, in this configuration of the bill folded in methodology, it appears as if the bat and or the owl have something to do with hovering or protecting what appears to be 2 egg-like structures. I call these the seed pods because they are egg-like structures, because in fact the 2 circles that are on the reverse of the $1 bill are not round. They are egg-shaped, even though it is only 1/64th of an inch difference from height and width, still makes them egg-shaped. Therefore, they are eggs or seed pods, because seed pods are oval in nature. And once again, today's date is 11/9/2009, and rest assured that some catastrophe having to do with nuclear proliferation or the meltdown or possible meltdown of nuclear peace talks with Iran. Rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, every time this number comes up in any configuration, the stock market goes crazy, or there is some kind of a nuclear article in the paper representing some sort of possibility for nuclear catastrophe. And today's article is about Iran having the ability to make nukes within months. And notice in the link under the description, it is in fact, the link brings you to an article that is in fact a 13-page article on 11/9/2009. Yeah, I'm sure that it's just a coincidence. But then again, here's the commercial for my book, ladies and gentlemen. It's a revolutionary new book, aka Angels on the Ark by Michael Fazio. This book is going to change the way the world looks at the $1 bill and change the way the world looks at religion, theology, and philosophical aspects of the concepts that you were taught since birth. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you have all been hoodwinked by an angel into believing that the government and the political system that appears in nature, in the world, that is supposed to represent the people of this world, actually represents the people of this world. It represents a society that dates back several thousand years. And these pictographs that you see before you on your screen are actual physical proof that these entities exist. Notice what looks to be a horned owl, and then when you bring this down just a little bit, it looks like the face of what they call Moloch. You can see that by looking at the ears at the top that looks like pointed ears of Moloch, and then the snoot, and also the eyes, and then the horned owl below the eyes makes the nostrils. The eyes of the horned owl below Moloch makes the nostrils of Moloch's face. This is not a coincidence. Then you have the face of a Mayan aspect of God. Then you have the face of a bullock on the end, which we will get to in a minute. And when you turn it around completely, you have a much clearer and better view of the face of Moloch, or that Baphomet fella, whatever his name is. Also, you have the face of an owl. So this is a Baphomet as well. These faces were placed here by a series of beings, a group of entities, either alien in nature or originating on this planet 10,000, 7,000, 50,000 years ago. No one can possibly know the answer to that because we are being lied to. I am the person that is bringing you this information, ladies and gentlemen. This is an exact replica of what appears on the end of a $1 bill, folded slightly, because the entity or group of spirit-like beings or God-like beings that placed all of this pictography on the end of the $1 bill is much more advanced than we are. Some people would have you believe it is Satan or Satan-like in nature. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for a moment, because I believe that only the Lord God of this universe, whatever you choose to believe God is, allowed these things to be on the $1 bill as proof that the book of Revelation and the book of Genesis is an exact script, so to speak, or a play of words that will take place in this world, including the fact that this is a bullock. These are the faces of men. This is a seraphim with the faces of men before and behind. Those are the 6 wings of the seraphim. This is the eagle that sits upon the throne in Revelation 4:7. This is the eagle that sits upon the throne in Revelation 4:7. or sets around about the throne in Revelations 4:7. This is a picture of the throne itself, spoken about in Revelations 4:6, with the beasts that appear to the left and right or around the throne itself, that I depict as the Egyptian faces of gods and the Mayan faces of gods. Ladies and gentlemen, rest assured, this is what is known as the throne in Revelations, and also the book of Daniel with the four beasts surrounding it. The word "in God we trust" one. The word "in God we trust" one represents the first commandment. This represents the mercy seat. The word "one" is enlarged because it is of a crystalline nature. The nature of the design of the word "one" is of a crystalline nature, ladies and gentlemen. It is so because it actually signifies in pictograph or pictography that the word "one" is enlarged. It is enlarged because when you use a crystal to enlarge something, it magnifies it, as if it was magnifying the Lord God's name. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is, and I know what time it is. It's time for me to get a bigger camera.